We are back on the ML Sports Platter. It's all brought to you by Western OTB and Batavia Downs Gaming. You can stay, play, dine, and win. Book your package now at BataviaDownsGaming.com. 34 Rush is an amazing place, and I now know firsthand how good the food is. I had lunch with this guy here. What a tour. What a visit. My guy, Ryan Hasenauer, of course, from Western OTB and Batavia Downs, the VP of Business Development. And he's got about 58 hats as well that he has in the back closet that he wears. What's up, my man? Thanks for having me out. What a great time.
Yeah, it was great to see you in person, Mike, and I'm so glad we were able to give you a tour of Batavia Downs. Obviously, not just the gaming, not just Thurman's restaurant, but those racing. You got to see the horses practicing. Gave you a little tour of our beautiful clubhouse, which we've renovated completely to welcome groups in. We have our other trade show spaces, and then, of course, our beautiful hotel. So it's really one-stop shopping out at our place. Going to be really busy this weekend as we welcome everybody in for the Zonta Holiday Festival, which is basically like a collection of vendors that are all selling Christmas adjacent, things, decorations, things you're going to have around your house, but also things that you might want to buy as gifts for friends and family this holiday season. So they are taking up every nook and cranny. They're taking up the hallways. They're taking up the foyer on the top part of our entire facility. And then, of course, our two big banquet rooms with just tons of vendor space. And it's free to get in. So it's not like some of these other ones you might see at your local mall or VFW or wherever else. It doesn't cost any money to come in, and you can come in and have access to all these different vendors. It's great.
So let's get into quickly, just a quick recap of the Breeders' Cup. Obviously the big race, and not a surprise for some. They bet the winner,
Yeah, obviously it was a bummer to see, Sovereignty scratch, a couple of days before there. And, you really wanted to see him go up against all those horses, including the one that had won last year. But, I did have, and I do have it in my wallet here, I did have a $2 win bet on Forever Young.
Oh, boy.
And it's kind of funny. I had all my bets, and I was going through it, and I was looking at them, and I was like, okay, do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? Whatever else. And I had $2 at the end. That's all I had left was $2. And I said, yeah, throw me $2 to win on the 5, and there it was. So I wish these other ones had hit. I made more money, but it was really cool to see that that horse kind of came through and won the race. $7 million. Well, they got 50% of it, whatever. But an exciting race nonetheless. And every year, Mike, the Breeders' Cup is so exciting. You know what I mean? I know there's a lot of talk lately with the CAWs, and there was a little bit of controversy yesterday when they announced the owner of the year and all this other stuff. You've seen some of that scuttlebutt online, but you know what? The important thing is that we need to promote the positive stories in our sport, and we need to promote the good things that are happening in the sport. People can get bogged down talking about negativity, this and that, but there's a lot of good things that are happening in horse racing. There's a lot of things to celebrate. And just like anything, if there's an event that's going on, and in our case with the Breeders' Cup, we had live racing our night, and we had a wine festival, and we tied it all together to make something fun for everybody who came into Batavia Downs that day.
So we're recording this ahead of Bills Dolphins,
Mhm.
and it'll air early next week, obviously, and some people can kind of go back on the weekend social platforms and see event-wise and just what your place has to offer every day of the week.
Sure.
You have Thurman coming back in, and the Bills just got the big win against KC. You guys have got another meet and greet with him. So I know you've got a thought or two on the Bills Chiefs. You came into the lunch with your Q-Zip Bills, and we were all pumped up, and you and I both looked at each other and said, oh, gosh, I would kill for this in January. And then we started talking about the team and whatnot. So we'll see what they do against the Dolphins, but big win against the Chiefs. They're obviously right there trying to vie for the division. And Thurman coming back, I believe, for the Thursday nighter against Houston.
So we're actually planned on having him do that, but he's got some other stuff going on. So we're actually welcoming him the following Sunday now.
Okay.
And he's going to be coming in for that Steelers game the weekend after Thanksgiving. So we've done some moving and some shaking here. So Thurman will join us for his next tailgate party on the 30th. I believe it's the 30th against the Steelers. So that'll be another packed weekend. We've got a beer crawl on Friday night. We'll welcome Thurman back on Sunday. But we've got, the Bills look great. Obviously the injuries hurt, Ed Oliver's gone. Mike's gone. Yep. It's really tough to see, those things happen. But Nick Wright, did his thing where hang a banner, beating the Chiefs 5 times regular season, when it doesn't matter. But it does matter because you know what? This isn't a thing where I saw somebody say this online, Mike, where someone says, oh, Andy Reid, he never shows his hand. Well, he better show his hand quick or they're not going to be in the playoffs. How about that? like this wasn't one of those games where it's like I got to definitely slow play this against the Bills this week because I got to make sure I don't show them my hand, dude. You got to win these games or you're not going to be in the playoffs. Like there's other teams that are getting good. The Broncos somehow are winning games, not covering at all, but they are somehow winning these games. And the Patriots look dangerous, and the Chargers are hot and cold, and who knows what the Steelers are going to do? And it's just like anything can happen out there. So and Lamar's back, right? So like there's only so many spots that are available. So they got to turn it on quick here. They got to make up some ground. But I like the way we ran the ball. I like that Josh threw down the field a little bit more than he usually does. But again, a lot of people want to blame Joe Brady and say terrible things about the Bills offense. But then Josh came to his defense week 4 or 5 and was like, look, I'm taking what the defense is giving us. And of course, at the time we were 4-0 or whatever we were. So it's like, look, if he could see that the Chiefs weren't defending down the field balls, he's going to chuck it. If all of a sudden it's going to be dink and duck for the victory, that's what we're going to do. And I'll tell you, as a Bills fan, I don't care. I just want to win the games. So
Yeah.
whatever is there, the only time I'm going to get upset is when we have a stinker like we had for the Patriots game, where it's just like, well, this isn't working at halftime. What do you got to do something else? And it seemed like we weren't, and that's why unfortunately we lost that game. But yeah, I'm telling you, man. Like I fully believe this team has got what it takes. We just got to put it all together and stay as healthy as we can at this point moving forward.
By the way, the Chief thing is true in terms of having to get it going and all that. But when you lose in the regular season and you have stinkers, I guess the overall picture still is, you can fall back on these things, on the rings, and they've won them, and
Yeah,
so
they won. Listen, they've been to the top of the mountain.
That's why I always look at when you look at sports and sustainability. When you come up short, but you have done it at least once or multiple times, the times you come up short, it still is decent and great on the resume, because it's the overall picture. I always bring up the Tampa Bay Lightning like this, right? When they couldn't get over the hump over and over and over again, but then they went to 3 straight cups. They won 2. They lost the 3rd in a row to Colorado, but yeah, it hurt, I'm sure, for them, management, players, and fans alike, but they had the 2. And then all of a sudden, the other shortcomings, it's a long list now of sustainability and being a contender, but at the top, you have the rings. So the Chiefs lose the Super Bowl last year, but they still have all the other rings to fall back on. Regular season, we don't know what they're going to do getting to the postseason, but you still always have that to fall back on. That's why when I argue with Giant fans on the golf course, I'm like, buddy, I don't want to hear it, because if you're my age, you got 4 rings. You deal with the losing. You deal with your drought. You deal with Brian Dable and Joe Shane and the inner whatever they got going on. You know why?
Right.
Because I want one of those things. Because we've dealt with the drought. Remember how bad that was?
17 years, man.
Deal with the drought. I'm not going to say again because it was really bad. But the drought would be, I don't know, easier to look back on if you had an Alan McDermott Bean ring right now. Of course it would.
Oh yeah, no, it would be like, remember when that happened? That was terrible. But we're the champs, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, I mean,
right.
Yeah,
and the shortcomings, right? Even losing some like 13 seconds and something, you'd be like, oh yeah, but they were close and they were a contender and they were a top 5 team and they almost made it. But then this year they did make it. So that being a perennial, constant, great team and contender, it overall feels and looks better. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're 100% right. Just you got to prove that you can get there, and you got to prove you can win it. And once you've done that, yeah, you got to. If you don't get back to the mountaintop, it's not great, but it stings a little bit less. That's for sure.
Yeah. So the final thing I wanted to get to, when I was driving home from Batavia Downs gaming, I thought about this. Your one-stop shop thing you said a minute ago. And it truly is, because if you don't play the machines, but you love great food, you go eat. You want to go to the bar, watch the game, you do that. You want to go over here and go to the store where I, did a little shopping myself. You do anything you want there. You can stay, play, dine, and win, do whatever you want. You are there all the time. You're probably the busiest guy I know. When you go around the facility and give a tour to somebody like me, what's the first thing that pops in your mind as like I don't want to, kind of have you choose a Mount Rushmore or a favorite thing, because it's kind of like choosing your favorite book or your favorite kid or whatever. Sure. But, that first thing that pops to mind when you're just walking around, like Batavia Downs Gaming, what it means to you.
I think, just like we had our things that we did today, is we're a big part of the community.
Yeah.
We announced, depending on when you see this, a couple of days ago, whatever it was, we're doing a food drive. And before we announced the food drive, we went off and dropped off a check for, $1,600, $1,700 to a local high school that had done some work for us doing trash and can pickup at the summer concert series this past summer. We're a big part of the fabric of this community, and I know that sounds crazy coming from somebody who helps run a casino, but a lot of people will tell you that depending on where you are and where you've lived, if you've gone to certain casinos, the homes and the businesses around it are boarded up, or they're not doing too well, or it's sucking the life out of the community they're in. We have a type of relationship with the people around us where we're providing opportunities for people to um, you know gain money from this place, whether it's the summer concert series where we do the guitar raffle,
Yeah.
where people can apply to be one of our recipients of the guitar raffle for the day, where they can raise as much as 2,000-3,000 bucks in a day for that. Whether it's the kids doing the pickup of the cans and the trash, whether it's us partnering with Community Action to get food into people's hands, us partnering with the Sabres next week to do turkeys for tickets. Like, there's all kinds of things that we're doing in the community, and it just seems like not every business can do that. We're very lucky to be able to do that, but I think we have a lot of forward thinking people here
Yeah.
that buy into that mentality. And we've had, Mike, we've had 5-6 different presidents in our 20 years. We had Marty, we had Mike, we had Henry, we have Byron now, the former mayor of Buffalo. And one of the overarching things that happened between all of them has been that we are a part of the community, and that we pride ourselves in our customer service and the value that we provide our customers. I was telling someone the other day, scooter rental at our place is $8 to rent a scooter. If you have some mobility issues and you want to get a scooter from our valet guys, valet's free, by the way, here.
Yep.
It's $8. It's like 12, 10, 15, $20 at some of the casinos.
Easily.
It's $8 here.
Yeah.
And valet is free. And so, we provide, I think, for people of value when it comes to their entertainment dollar. And that's a thing that isn't something tangible that I give someone a tour of. I can walk you past the smiling faces down in the lobby with our security guards, or the wonderful people at Players Club, or introduce you to the great people that are in our food and beverage department, or even our environmental services staff that are picking up, things on the gaming floor with a smile. It really comes down to, that's the thing I pride myself on. And the thing I think of most when I think of this place is our sense of community and our, just how nice everybody is. That's the big thing for me.
No doubt.
The gaming floor is awesome. The events we have are kick butt. We've got great food, as you well know, having the Philly cheesesteak, and
Yeah.
being able to watch the races from the beautiful clubhouse or from your balcony of your hotel room. Those are all great things. But if you're not being treated right, then it's not some place you want to return to. I could have all the great amenities in the world, but if it's not going to be for the right value and you're not going to be treated right, then you're not going to probably return. And we've got higher attendance than we've ever had before here. So, things are good. Things are good, and I'm liking the way that we're working through everything.
No doubt. I had a blast. I got to figure out maybe to get back out there before month's end, because I was tossing between the Philly cheesesteak and that Thanksgiving turkey special.
Yeah,
You guys got
right
on
in the middle of the month, we're doing
menu.
Thanksgiving turkey dinners.
Yeah, and here Ryan is at the table, and they walk up. They know exactly what to get for him. His man made his specialty pizza.
My specialty
Right.
pizza I order every day. I had it today too. So
Did you really? Oh man, I love that. Well, look, I can't thank you guys enough for your support of the platter. Of course, Western OTB, Batavia Downs, and you can stay, play, dine, and win at BataviaDownsGaming.com. Get to 34 Rush, and of course, for the Thurman meet and greet. You'll be seeing more on the social platforms. Congrats to you guys on all the community outreach. Awesome stuff. I had a blast. Thank you for the tour. Thanks for having me. And you can get them all at BataviaDownsGaming.com. I met a lot of people on the staff as well. He's Ryan Hasenauer. Check him out on all the social platforms. Go follow, like, subscribe, and more. And, of course, proud Platter supporters. Ryan, thanks for the time, and I'll see you real soon, my man.
sounds good. Thanks so much, Mike.